What is up? What is good, peeps? Another week down of Call of Duty drama, Call of Duty news, and yes, we slowly approach our next Call of Duty weekend. Still gotta wait some time for it, but in that meantime, we actually have an interview with Scump brought to us by ESPN Esports. I will link the full Twitch VOD down below for all of you, as he actually had some very curious notes to make about CDL Atlanta, which we saw the Huntsmen unfortunately get reverse sweeped, and we are a bit worried about their momentum. He actually talks about that same momentum. We have heard the likes of Maven, former coach TP, also talk about this squad and how they need it to continue on the season. A few bad events could spell gigantic trouble for them. Scump talks about that. Also talks about the fact when they go up one or two maps, they cannot get carried away like they did against Florida, who shook and shocked a lot of us at that previous event. Even more so importantly, he talks about how part of the roster actually said they should have lost, maybe actually gone out 0-2, but also lost that opening series against Toronto, went to Game 5, Round 11, and that shook them throughout the entire event. Some wise words from Scumpy, who laid in bed for the interview. Don't you love it?
Well, when you look back at the weekend, what are some of your major takeaways?
Honestly, nothing really. A lot of people are expecting me to be like torn up about losing and whatever, but honestly, we played some of our worst Call of Duty that I've seen us play, and we were one map shy of making a final. So, in terms of takeaways, I think the biggest one, I kept saying it after we lost, was we need to really work on carrying our momentum through a series. Because when we go up 2-0 in a series, especially against a team that we're favored to beat, I mean, we should be closing that series out. So I don't really know how we can improve on that, but we need to definitely find a way to, because it's crucial, like throughout a season.
Even in between London and Atlanta, how prepared would you say the team was going into Atlanta?
I mean, I would say either the same amount or more. I individually had played a lot more leading up to Atlanta, in terms of like individual practice, and that didn't really show in my gameplay. So that's one of the reasons I was really disappointed. But we still prepared a lot. I mean, we're always going to prepare a lot. We played pretty much the exact same amount, maybe even more on certain days. So preparation wasn't really the issue. It's just sometimes you go to the event and things fall apart. I mean, we had a shaky start in our first match, and then I guess that kind of ruined our, like, I guess, mojo and vibe going into some of our other series. I don't know. It's really hard to say because I've been playing for so long. It's like sometimes things just don't mesh on a certain weekend, and it's hard to explain because you do the same things that you did leading up to the other events, but sometimes it just doesn't click.
Did you feel off after the Toronto? I mean, Toronto took you to the absolute brink. Did you feel off? Did the team feel off after Toronto?
Oh yeah, I mean we were like mind blown. We were like, how did we just almost lose that series? And some of us were like, we should have lost that series. So we're kind of looking at the event as a silver lining, in the fact that we got 2 wins out of it. We got 20 points. We could have had 30 points, but we could have went out 0-2 if we would have lost that first match. Who knows how our communication, how our vibes would have been. Who knows how we do if we lose that first match. So things could have went way worse.
And also in the news out there, lastly, we talked about this guy who was all around Adderall. Trust me, guys, I am not done talking about Adderall and Call of Duty on this channel. Stay tuned for next week. I got a great video for you guys coming soon. That's Killa, former pro member in the Call of Duty scene. Some might say a future pro if he can actually bounce back to Call of Duty League. I know, right when I said that, we got a lot of doubters out there about a lot of amateurs and challenger players, which I will talk about also in the future on this channel. Killa does a really weird way of encouraging a guy like Parasite, but also backhanding him and taking him down. It's actually supposedly Parasite with a brand new roster, and Killa saying him and Parasite will actually never make the Call of Duty League. It does not matter what roster it is. Parasite says, speak for yourself. And Killa responds saying, hey, I'm always going to root for you, but remember me and Damon always carried you. Ever since then, you've been nothing legitimate. So it's a really, really weird way to talk down about someone and then say, hey, I'm always rooting for you, though, which doesn't help your public perception, and especially if I was an esports organization looking at Call of Duty pro players, Parasite and Killa, amongst many, many others, are still amidst those, I wouldn't call them amateur, but maybe challenger level players out there who are seeking a Call of Duty League spot, and only a few probably will get them in terms of by next season. So we'll see if these guys can actually fight for a spot. Meanwhile, Killa and Parasite go back and forth on Twitter. Speaking of going back and forth, it's actually Kuavo And funnily enough, going back and forth between him, Mochilla, and Fellow. Fellow was the one who actually leaked the baited lobby roster. Apparently, Optic will not be making changes. I agree with this for the Battle of LA homestand weekend. Let's see how those results go if that roster does change. It's actually first Kuavo calling out Fellow, apparently for hip firing. They go back and forth a bit. Mochilla, I always call him Mochella for some reason, actually joins in and says they only lost one hard point. You guys should win a series. And then they go back and forth about Kuavo, aka Kenny, and his ego a little bit more here and there. And that's the end of the discussion. Not really too much to it, guys. Not really too much to take away from it. But Optic still receiving jabs for being winless throughout Call of Duty League season so far. Can they get their first win? We can only hope. Otherwise, changes are probably imminent. If you guys did miss the CDL intel, it seems that Pharaoh or Ferocities still maybe has interest from Optic Gaming in that roster. Whether or not that will come to fruition, probably based entirely off their future results. And can they get a win at the next CDL homestand? Until next time, hope you guys all enjoy breaking down esports gaming news here every single day, all day long. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you guys back here sometime soon.